which is clearly not taken care in the present case, Your Lordship. In the case of State of Kerala and others versus N.M. Thomas and others, it was rightly observed that directive principles of state policy is a fundamental in governance of the country, and to neglect this obligation is playing taunt on Article 46. Whereas in our other recent case of Disha versus State of Kerala, it is mentioned that Article 243G read with 11 schedule is concerned with the burial and cremation grounds. It is our humble submission that both the Panchayat and the District Collector have not considered the seriousness of the matter and has violated the fundamental rights of the deceased and further breached their duty that's invoking the SC/ST Act. The Honourable Court is requested to consider the same and uphold the constitutional provisions to provide petitioner the necessary relief. Your Lordship, the fifth subfold is that the right to deceased decent burial under Article 21 is violated. Your Lordship, as we are all aware, Article 21 has, in the case of Permanent Katara vs. Union of India, there was an expansion of the horizon of Article 21. Here, it was mentioned, it has been expanded to an extent that the right to dignity and fair treatment under Article 21 of the Constitution of India is not only available to a person living, but also to a person dead, also to his body after his death. Your Lordship, in another case of Ramji Mujib Singh, alias Mujibai versus State of UP, it was mentioned that the disposal of the body should be with accordance to dignity and respect which a person deserves. And except in the cases, the exception is that except in cases of establishing a crime or to save the life of another person. These exceptions are not in the present case, and hence the disposal of the body should be done with dignity and as soon as possible. In the case of Common Cause versus Union of India and Ashray Adhikar Abhiyan, the duty is pressed upon the states to ensure active implementation of Article 21, Your Lordships. Your Lordship, our humble submission is that to refuse the disposal of the deceased body in either of the ground amounts to the violation of the deceased's rights, and considering that the body is in mortuary, the Honourable Court is requested to uphold the fundamental rights of the deceased and direct for a decent burial. To end with, in the case of Jija Ghosh versus Union of India, the Supreme Court ruled that the respect for dignity of all is a constitutional principle as well as a constitutional rule, and the dignity of the deceased is required to be upheld in the present case, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, if Your Lordships do not have any further questions, I would like to invite my co-counsel to proceed with the issues. Much obliged, Your Lordship.
Only one question.
Yes, Your Lordship.
You have said that caste doesn't follow religion.
Indeed, Your
And
Lordship.
according to the decisions, caste identity remains.
Yes, Your Lordship.
Now, that is a legal proposition.
Indeed, Your Lordship.
What about the caste identity as per social norms vis-a-vis caste identity as per SC/ST Act? Because under the SC/ST Act, a convert is not entitled to the benefits under the Act or invoking the benefits of the Act.
Indeed, Your Lordship, with reference to the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Atrocity Prevention Act, I would like to refer your Lordship to Section 2(1)(e)(c), which states the word victim. Here in the present case, the person who is fighting for justice is the grandson of the deceased, Your Lordship. He is seeking justice for the deceased who is kept in the mortuary. Here it is not only the denial, here the pressure is not only on the disposition of the body, but also it is on the deceased family. Deceased family is scheduled caste, as I have established in the facts of the case, Your Lordship. With reference to the same, it can be said that the Section 2(e), which states that victim is not only the person who has a direct connection with the atrocity that is caused, but also the family members can be included in the same, Your Lordship. If Your Lordship does not have any further question, I would invite my co-counsel.
How section 3
Indeed, Your
ZA
Indeed, Your Lordship.
subclass A, how it is being attracted under the SC/ST Act?
Your Lordship, as I have established that now it is about, as you have mentioned that it is not applicable to the deceased, we took the invocation of the victim, the word victim and its expanded
I
horizon.
understand the
With
meaning of victim and even the relatives also comes under that. The word victim, right?
Indeed, Your Lordship.
Then read section 3 ZA and subclass A.
Indeed, Your Lordship.
When they obstruct the common property resources of an area or burial or cremation ground. Underline the word common property resources of an area.
Indeed, Your Lordship.
Here it is not a common property. There are two different religious institutions. That is the reason why, since it is not a common burial ground, this section is not attracted.
Your Lordship, with reference to that,
So you cannot go under SC/ST Act. It is not attracted.
indeed, Your Lordship, but the council begs to differ. Here, the common property can be inferred to the fact that these both the burial grounds are on public land, Your Lordship. Anything that is registered in any of the statute or any of the government, then it has the extended duty of being another, the extended arm of the state, Your Lordship. With reference to that, we can say that it also performs a public duty. Public duty, as it performs a public duty.
Public duty in relation, in respect of that religion. It is not a general one. If it is a public institution, any dead body can be buried there, right?
Indeed.
But here they allow only Hindu religion dead bodies,
Indeed, Your Lordship.
since it is not a common burial ground.
In this, I would like to infer to the fact that she was born as scheduled caste, Your Lordship. She will not merely lose her identity, Your Lordship. Merely fact that she has converted from Hinduism to Christianity, and that too leading 50 years of life as Hindu and being seen as a scheduled caste will not change as she gets converted. Her situation remains the same. She still has the properties or elements in her which she has been practicing throughout that 50 years of your life, Your
Are you
Lordship.
basing any law on that?
Um,
Merely because since for the last 50 years, she is living in Hindu religion,
Indeed, Your Lordship.
she should be considered as Hindu even if she converted into Christianity.
Your Lordship, this particular issue will be established by my co-counsel, Your Lordship.
The question is very simple.
Yes,
Question is
Lord.
very simple.
Yes, Your Lordship.
Now here is a public place
Yes, Your Lordship.
which is allotted and designated to a particular religion. Now
Your Lordship.
Hindu Mahaprasthana Seva Samiti is to look after one particular burial ground which is designated as Hindu burial ground. There is another cemetery
Yes, Your Lordship.
which is entrusted with the Christian church committee. Okay, when these two public places are meant exclusively for certain religious people only, in exclusion of others entirely, then how can you say, as per ZA,
Yes, Your Lordship.
Section 3 of SC/ST Act, wherein it is clearly stated that the burial ground should have been a common burial ground where the access is allowed to each and every religious person. If in such place, if there is any denial, then it is denial. Otherwise, it is not denial, and it will not come under this. The second point my friend has asked is that as long as you are in that caste, in that religion, you have the benefits you can enjoy. Once you get converted into another religion, whatever the benefits that a caste would get are being provided by the state, you will not get.
Your Lordship, with reference to the same, the first question you asked was, how can there be, means you told the segregation between the burial grounds on basis of religion. To the same, I would like to refer your Lordships to the case of B. Kalai Selvi and others versus the District Collector and other, page number 22 in our memorial, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, in this case, it has been clearly stated that segregation of burial or cremation ground on basis of caste, community or religion is not encouraged as it is against the spirit of constitution. Thus, the refusal to permit the disposal of the body in the Hindu burial ground, especially in the public land, solely based on the fact that the deceased is Christian, is not encouraged. It cannot be encouraged, Your Lordship. So, with the same, I would like to state that the further questions, the second question you have asked will be established by my co-counsel as we have a whole issue on it, Your Lordship. If Your Lordship has no more question, I would like to invite my co-counsel to proceed with these submissions. Indeed, Your much obliged, Your Lordship.
Lordship, the next issue I'll be addressing is whether the aspects of religion, conversion and will can be reconciled. Your Lordship, the religion of a person or conversion onto another religion does not change the validity of the will as for the burial or cremation wishes are concerned. A will properly executed calls for intentions of deceased to be respected and given effect thereof. Your Lordship, the deceased had converted to Christianity. Her faith was still deep-rooted in those religious convictions that she believed or followed since she was born. Your Lordship, and to mention that cremation to be made in the Hindu burial ground, and the will supports this view. One may still practice and believe in the original religion, customs and traditions due to the cultural influences that shaped a major part of their life, Your Lordship, and shaped the entire belief system that they grew up with. Your Lordship, furthermore, in the case of Muhammad Siddiqui versus Darbar Singh Guru, as you may refer to the page number 20 of the compendium and page number 19 of the memorial, it's explicitly stated by the Supreme Court that the case that while one can convert or change the religion but not the caste as it is linked by the person's birth. Your Lordship, in this case, the petitioner had converted his religion and his converted religion's practices and beliefs were professed on the petitioner's deceased mother and wife while during the burial ceremony, which was not according to the religion of what the deceased mother and wife professed. Your Lordship, such act was widely recognized in the community and yet did not cause any public tranquility disorder, Your Lordship. Furthermore, in the case of Commissioner Hindu Religion and Endowments case, Your Lordship, the Supreme Court has clearly emphasized that for the purpose of individual civil rights, the caste is not confined to Hindu religion alone, and conversion to any other religion from Hinduism does not change or cease the caste of that person. Your Lordship, under Article 25, that is the right to freedom of religion, it is not entirely regarding the propagation of the religion, but also rather includes the propagation of belief, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, in the case of Kotapalli, the similar was reiterated where any act done under the pursuit of religious belief or opinion that is against the public policy is protected under the Constitution. Such pursuits won't cause any abrupt disturbance or to the public tranquility, Your Lordship. Furthermore, Your Lordship, in the case of Ganpat versus returning officer, page number 28, para 14 of the compendium and page number 20 of the memorial, Your Lordship, it states that the Christian who is a scheduled caste remains their caste identity for the purpose of various constitutional and legal aspects, including their burial rights, Your Lordship. Further, the case also states how this is a grey area where the customs and habits over the centuries have been developed, and along with that, some new ideas have now established to be coexisting in the nature and society, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, in the case of Kalais and others versus State of Maharashtra, if you may refer to page number, similar was reiterated. In the present case, not only the deceased ancestors and successors belong to scheduled caste, but she was also born as one, and even though she converted to Christianity, her religious beliefs towards Hinduism were intact, and same was reflected in her will, which needs to be respected as it was executed properly following the proper procedures, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, even though the religions apart from Hinduism does not have or believe in caste system, the fact that the caste is a social construct cannot be denied as it forms the basis of Indian society, and thus even post-conversion the caste identity follows the individual till the end, that is post their death too. Your Lordship, India is a secular country, recognizes religion and is very sensitive about it, and due to which the caste system has become a social construct at this point, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, furthermore, denying the permission to cremate an individual solely because of conversion and religion amounts to discrimination, violation of their right to equality guaranteed under Article 14, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, the deceased has explicitly stated her wish to be cremated in Hindu burial ground in her will that is legally executed already, Your Lordship. In the case Kavita Kanwar versus Mrs. Pamela Mehta, it was stated that the court must consider and give effect to a valid will legally executed, which includes to express wishes that to be carried out unless there is any compelling factor strong enough to invalidate or set aside. It is humbly submitted by the Lordship that there was no such compelling strong factor or which needs to be set due to which the bill needs to be set aside or the wish that was intended should be set aside, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, as the bill is paramount over personal laws, as it outcomes the deceased's last wish, respecting the autonomy over her own body. Your Lordship, the deceased has the right to decide how the body should be disposed of, and no other individual or state can refuse such reasonable wish for which she asked to be cremated in the Hindu burial ground as she was born a Hindu, and also continue to carry the scheduled caste identity even after conversion as established before. Your Lordship, the family members were also willing to comply the deceased's wish, and after refusal of permission from Secretary of the Hindu burial grounds, they also have attempted to make certain alterations to burial in Christian burial ground. After denial from the Hindu burial ground, they at least approach the Christian burial ground in order to respect the time issue, that is time constraint that has been laid on the deceased body, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, such is an act disrespectful towards the deceased. Additionally, Your Lordship, the case of B. Kalai Selvi versus District Collector, it has been clearly stated and established priorly by my co-counsellor that recognition of that India is a secular nation and that the segregation based on burial ground, based on community and religion cannot be recognized. Furthermore, Your Lordship, refusal to permit the disposal of body in Hindu burial ground, especially the public land, should not be encouraged, which is also similarly reiterated in the case of T. Balasubramaniam versus Commissioner. If Your Lordship is well versed with the issue, I would like to move on to the next issue. Much obliged, Your Lordships. Lordship, the next issue we would like to address is whether the petitioner can be allowed to cremate the deceased in the Hindu burial ground. Your Lordship, the counsel for petitioner humbly submits that Mary's will, which was legally executed, represents the deceased's clear and unequivocal intention to be cremated in the Hindu burial ground. In the case of Parmanand Katara case, the Honorable Supreme Court observes that the right under Article 21 of the Constitution is not only available to a living man but also a deceased person, Your Lordship. And Your Lordship, furthermore, in the recent judgment, which is very pertinent to this case, Your Lordship, Mohammed Latif Magdi case, if you may refer to page number 23 of the memorial, it clearly states, recognizes that the intentions of a testator's wish, such to be executed, guarantee their fundamental rights as mentioned under Article 21. And if you may, I would like to quote the judgment's para, Your Lordship, wherein it states that the right of the next of the kin of the deceased to have their dear one cremated or buried as per the religious obligations and religious belief that the dead person professed during his lifetime is part and parcel of the right of life guaranteed under Article 21 of the Constitution of India. The parents and the close relations of the deceased are well within their right to demand the dead body of their dear one to be cremated or buried as per the traditions, religions, and obligations and religious beliefs. This right would also include the choice of relatives to have the dead body cremated or buried at their native place. It is not uncommon that the graves of the dead are maintained by the relatives and are often visited by their relations and close friends to pay respect and homage on certain occasions. Your Lordship, referring to this, the family is bound to visit the grave and the procedures are to be followed by the family, which is right now professing Hindu religion, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, further, it was stated that without dilating much on the issue, it can be well settled that the right to life and liberty guaranteed under Article 21 has also for the human dignity to live even after the death of the extent, even after the death, though a limited extent. We recognize that the right to dignity after the death is limited extent. However, the fundamental rights are clearly stating that there has been no public tranquility also that has been led. So this is not an exception for them to set aside the fundamental rights of the deceased, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, in the case of Ramji missing Mujib, as it is also permitted, it was observed that if courts are required to fulfill the desires of a dead person by execution of his will, The same courts are also obliged for giving appropriate direction for preservation and disposal of the dead bodies, and for the purpose to give an extended meaning of expression Article 21, include dead bodies of the person who were human beings in a restricted sense. Furthermore, Your Lordship, here the marriage will, being an executed will, wherein other wishes were granted and were recognized lawfully, the petitioner urges that the cremation in Hindu burial ground, as well being within the rights, Your Lordship, legal rights and legal framework of the India.
Council,
Yes, Your Lordship.
Can the bill bind on third parties? One thing. Second thing is, when the public tranquility overrides public order.
Yes, Your Lordship.
Answer.
Your Lordship, firstly, will is binding on the authority in the present case because bill clearly mentions the intentions and also it was already legally executed, stating that she was very well within the rights to have that. Secondly, Your Lordship, the second question to address that, public tranquility. Your Lordship, even in this present case, if the respondents deny her cremation, which they have already denied, the burial, this in itself would cause public disorder in the community because she belongs to a community, Your Lordship. This in itself would cause public disorder because fundamental rights are being violated, and individuals' fundamental right when it comes to religious sentiments are very big matter in the society in India, where the nation is a very secular in nature.
No, you are having two options here.
Yes, Your Lordship.
But you specifically asked in your prayer. Please see page number 27.
Yes, Your Lordship.
Sir, prayer number 3. Please read that.
That the petitioner can be allowed to cremate the deceased in the Hindu burial ground.
Only you sought for Hindu burial ground, but not choose to another.
No, Your Lordship.
Then they are having their own objections and the public order will disturb.
Your Lordship, we are intending that there will be no public disorder because she was born in a Hindu family. The victims of this case, that is the petitioner, is also belonging to Hindu family, and also denial of the burial in the Hindu cremation burial ground would in itself cause public disorder. Even if you deny or even if you accept it, the public disorder is bound to happen. So the degree of public disorder that can be accepted by the authority is what is in the question, Your Lord.
Just to decide, are you the custodian of the public peace or the local body?
Your Lordship, the local bodies.
You may claim that there will be no public disorder, or there will not be any disturbance to the communal harmony.
Yes.
But as an individual, it is not you who has to reconcile the conflict between individual personal liberty and the public safety and the communal harmony.
Yes, Your Lordship.
There is an authority for that.
Yes,
you
Your
always
Lordship.
claim that there won't be any problem. But you yourself are claiming that in case if the denial is there, there will be a...
There could be, Your Lordship. It's not...
So in a way, you say that if the burial is not allowed, there may be disturbance.
Maybe.
No, if the burial is not allowed, there may be a possibility of peace and order.
Yes.
In both the cases. Yeah, in both the cases. So in that situation,
Your Lord.
who is the appropriate authority to reconcile the conflict and evaluate whether there will be a disharmony in the society because of this burial, allowing the burial in the Hindu crematorium?
Your Lordship.
So, as a petitioner, we cannot say that there won't be any. Can you give an assurance to this court that there won't be any such disorder in the society or obstruction to the public peace?
Your Lordship, if I may refer to a case in which the similar situation happened where a religion of the Muhammad Siddiq case, Your Lordship, 19, where a similar situation was faced where they professed the religion of different castes on the deceased who was from different caste, different religion, Your Lordship. In the similar case, it was observed that even though this was the person was belonging to a very high status in the community and was very well recognized in the community, there was no public tranquility that was harmed. We are stating that there may be...
Each case is unique.
Yes, Your Lordship.
Only because that you cite an example where there was no disturbance. Okay, that was a different situation. But when there is a possibility of apprehension,
Yes, Your Lordship.
disorder, we cannot, as a petitioner, you cannot give an assurance to us.
Your Lordship,
To this court that there won't be any disturbance.
but recognition of fundamental rights is also very essential, Your Lordship. Individual fundamental rights cannot be denied.
It is to be reconciled. You cannot
Yes.
deny it.
Your Lordship.
We don't say that there is no right. But in the name of expansion or wider interpretation given to your right, we cannot compromise the peace and order.
Your Lordship, recognizing that, we have prayed an alternate relief, Your Lordship.
Yeah.
That's what. Your Lordship, if I move.
Now you said that the body should be cremated in Hindu burial ground.
Yes, Your
Okay.
Lordship.
Now this Mahaprasthana Seva Samiti is discharging certain functions, allowing all Hindus in that village, the dead bodies in the in that village, to be cremated or buried in that particular burial ground.
Yes, Your
That's
Lordship.
a Hindu burial ground.
Yes, Your
It
Lordship.
is being maintained by Hindu society.
Yes, Your Lordship.
You name it a Mahaprasthana Seva Samiti. Is it not their freedom? Is it not their freedom to deny access to non-Hindus?
Your Lordship, she professed.
Because there is a fundamental right guaranteed to religious denominations as well as individuals under Part 3 of Constitution to profess, practice their own religion. As part of it, they prima facie, she is a Christian, practicing Christianity, taken baptism, so she has voluntarily converted herself from Hinduism to Christianity and practiced it for 30 years and more. And it is an acknowledged fact by the villagers also.
Yes.
Now, is it not their right to deny access to that dead body to enter the Hindu burial ground?
Your Lordship, they cannot deny the fact based on the religion because, Your Lordship,
They can. I say that's exactly the point. That's the right. That's the constitutional right given to the person.
Your Lordship, it was similarly stated in the case of B. Kalais LV case, where it was stated that, Your Lordship, if you may refer to page number 22 of the memorial, it was stated that segregation based on caste, community or religion is not encouraged in the society, Your Lordship. Such should not be based. There should be no segregation based on caste, religion when it comes to burial grounds.
Constitution allows discrimination. Please understand.
No,
Constitution allows inequality.
Based on
Ca-
classification.
Do you understand?
If there is a classification, if there is a
Reasonable classification.
Your Lordship, it was not encouraged because it's against the spirit of the Constitution. In this, Your Lordship, in the present case, the refusal to permit disposal of a body is not, it's on a public land, Your Lordship. Public land comes under the state and the Constitution is responsible to act on it.
If you say it is a public land, that public land is designated for particular religion. In this public land, both are public lands.
Yes, Your Lordship.
Entrusted to communities, definite religious groups. Let's say Hindu community, this is a Christian community, church community.
Yes, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, but
It is not a public land where you allow access to everybody. Not a common public burial ground. It's not a common public ground. Burial ground. That's why SC/ST Act will not be attracted because of Section 3ZA.
Your Lordship, this is not a reasonable restriction that is being imposed in the public land because India is a secular country. Secular principles are applicable in this matter, Your Lordship.
So it is a secular country.
The religion.
That's the religious rights also.
Yes, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, if you are well acquainted, I would like to state another case. Your Lordship, following this, I would like to state that, can I extend the time? Much obliged. Your Lordship, the Council would like to submit the alternate relief that you are seeking is that recognizing the urgent and call for the matter at hand, the petitioner clearly submits that to uphold the deceased cremation in the Hindu burial ground is however denied. To maintain the dignity of the deceased, the counsel of the petitioner was seeking an alternate relief while understanding the urgency and prays that the deceased is buried in the Christian burial ground as an alternative situation. Your Lordship, in the case of Ashray Adhikar, it was recognized that the decent burial should be given. One is entitled to right to decent burial. So, along with that, the emphasis needs to be drawn that the counsel of petitioner humbly submits that the decent burial of a deceased body immediately after death without denying any unnecessary delay in legal formalities is a part of deceased rights. And the Lordship, the Council would like to submit the arguments in 3 points, Your Lordship. If
The other question regarding the prayer 2,
yes, Your Lordship.
second prayer,
Yes, Your Lordship.
that the aspects of religion conversion and the will can be reconciled to grant the relief sought.
Yes, Your Lordship.
How are you going to reconcile?
Your Lordship, the religion.
Taking the invalid will in respect of that desire to be buried in the Hindu burial ground.
Your Lordship, related to the legal, it is a legal executive will, and it is widely established by my counsel answer that a disease, the intention of being cremated or the intention of disposal of the body can be mentioned in a will, Your Lordship. So, Your Lordship,
Is it valid? Anything can be mentioned in the will.
yes, Your Lordship.
But whatever is lawful, that will be considered. Whatever is unlawful, that can be ignored. But here, she mentioned her desire to be buried in the Hindu burial ground.
Yes, Your
Is
Lordship.
it a valid one?
It is a
As per
reasonable.
the will, definition of will under section 2H of the Indian Succession Act.
Your Lordship.
Yeah, 2H. Will, the definition of will. It only refers the property which has some economic value.
Yes, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, just a second.
2H.
Your Lordship, recognizing the intention of a testator, we have further stated that even in the case of Ramji Mujib case, Your
No,
Lordship.
you please go to this one. Don't go to another case.
Okay. Will means the legal declaration of the intention of the testator with respect to his property, which he desires to be carried out even after property. Yes, Your Lordship.
Underline the word property.
Yes, Your Lordship.
What is property here?
Whether her desire to be buried in Hindu burial ground is a property or not.
Your Lordship, with multiple instances that have been raised in front of Supreme Court as well, regarding to whether a body is property or not, it has been addressed that even during medical negligence cases or cases where the body is donated, Your Lordship, such are referred to as body, the property. Supreme Court recognizes the body to be a property.
Where in which case it is considered as a property. Where?
That's a different context.
But recognition of property, a body to be property should be acknowledged.
You go through the definition of immovable property and mobile property under the Transfer of Property Act,
Yes.
and also the definition of will under section 2H of the Indian Succession Act.
Is your body your property?
Yes, Your Lordship. She has autonomy over her own body. They have the right to state how the body should be disposed of.
You may have a right over your body, but
Yes.
but it is not the property by itself.
You don't have ownership over it.
Your Lordship, we have the right to dispose of the property. That is the dispose of the body in this matter, Your Lordship.
You can sell your hair, you can donate your blood, you can lease your womb.
Your
These
Lordship.
are all the components of ownership. To a certain extent.
You cannot put an end to your body.
Court recognized it partially.
Your Lordship, Supreme Court partially recognizes.
Right to life includes right to die.
Your Lordship, right to die is not the matter at hand.
Like restrictions available
In
are
exceptional case.
restrictions are also can be imposed on the body, on the ownership of.
Yes, Your Lordship. But it's a fundamental right, Your Lordship, to know that the house she wants to be buried, the right to decent burial is existing.
Section 7.
It is not necessary that any technical words or terms of art be used in a will, but only that the wording be such that the intention of the testator can be known. Therefore, Your Lordship, it's similar to how the testation, we have clearly established that the intention is to be buried and cremated in the Hindu burial ground. Hence, the intention that that's the last wish, Your Lordship, that the deceased is asking for. So it should be respected.
The intention that was there is in particular section 74 is in relation to
Property only.
disposal of the property after her death. Property after
But recognition of
You have to read section 2H, right? And 74 and 87 of the succession act together.
yes, Your
Which
Lordship.
relates to only property, right? Yeah, movable or removable properties.
Your Lordship, in the recent trends, it's observed that Supreme Court is stating that body can be termed as a property. However, there is no clear asset law that recognizes that the body is a property. But however, there is also not denial regarding it.
Is there any statute saying that the body is a property?
There are only Supreme Court cases.
The body of any person is a property. Any statute which speaks
No, Your
about it?
Lordship.
No.
But Supreme Court cases are stating that in matters that are relevant to
That
it.
is in a different circumstances.
It's an evolving property.
It's not recognized as of now.
Evolving property.
It's body making,
Acquiring certain connotations of
Now the point is that if there is anything that is written other than disposing of the property of the testator,
Yes.
will that be legally enforceable?
I beg your pardon, Your Lordship.
No, in a will, there are many things written.
Yes, Your Lordship.
Other than disposal of her property.
Yes, Your Lordship.
That particular portion where she has written many things, other than disposal of the property, will that particular part of will enforceable?
It's not legally binding, however, the intention should be respected because it's under the fundamental rights that the dignity should be provided.
If it is not enforceable, you cannot come to court.
Your Lordship.
You cannot have a remedy. Is it or is it not?
See, under the will, whether intention of a particular person is a property.
Your Lordship, it can be recognized because it's reasonable request, Your Lordship. There's no unreasonable request from the petitioner's side that it cannot be recognized for the disposal.
For example, by executing a will without transferring any property, I said that my dead body should be buried along with the burial ground of Srimati Indira Gandhi ji.
Your Lordship, reasonability is a matter in this.
No, can my desire to be fulfilled?
No, Your Lordship.
Then how you are asking here that she can be?
Christian asking cremation in a Hindu burial ground, is it reasonable?
It is reasonable because she professed Hinduism for 50 years, Your Lordship. The failure of recognition cannot be recognized. She professed Hinduism for 50 years.
Basing on the period you are taking stand, 32 years she lived in Christianity.
Your Lordship, but it is also recognized that religious beliefs are also respected, Your Lordship. India, the fundamental rights also respected religious beliefs.
What we
Yes.
say, the individual rights vis-a-vis the religious rights of the religious institutions. Right? See, the religious rights are also guaranteed under Article 25 of the Constitution.
Yes, Your Lordship.
Right? And the individual rights are also, fundamental rights are also guaranteed under Part 3 of the
Yes, Your Lordship.
Constitution. You have to balance both these.
Yes, Your
You
Lordship.
cannot simply say that the fundamental right of the deceased is violated under Article 21 by ignoring the fundamental rights which are guaranteed under the same part. And the state has to respect the religious institutions. Though it is a secular country, but secular country cannot go against the wishes of the religious institutions.
Your Lordship, here the institutions remain silent. They did not address the fact, Your Lordship. They cannot address the matter at the hand just by remaining silent. Respondents who, as being a state and having authority, were entitled to act upon it. Your Lordship, if I may make the submissions in 3 polls, I would like to state it. Your Lordship, the conversion is valid and the deceased remains SC, due to which she faced caste discrimination, violating a fundamental right to the decent burial. Secondly, Your Lordship, the relation, conversion and will can be reconciled, respecting belief and intention of the deceased. Lastly, Your Lordship, the deceased is entitled to be cremated in the Hindu burial ground, as it also needs to be emphasized that justice delayed is justice denied, Your Lordship. If Your Lordships are well acquainted with the issues raised, we'd like to move on to the prayer. Much obliged. Lordship, therefore, in the lights of the issues raised, arguments advanced, and authorities cited, it is humbly prayed that this honourable court may please to be adjudged and declare that the denial to dispose the body of the deceased amounts to violation of her fundamental rights, that the aspects of relation, conversion, and the will can be reconciled to grant the relief sought, and the petitioner can be allowed to cremate the deceased in the Hindu burial ground and pass any order, direction or relief that this honorable court may deem fit in the interest of justice, equity and good conscience, all of which is respectfully submitted by the counsel for petitioner in front of this honorable court. Much obliged, Your Lordship.